Interview presented by Canaceutics Medical Dispensary, proudly serving New Mexico cannabis patients with trustworthy all-natural medicine since 2010.
Backstage, Peak Fighting Championships 28, Mika Frankl, Cage Mines, Carrington Banks is going to be in the corner of Josh Marsh. Couldn't help but want to steal a minute with him. Sir, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I can't complain.
Seen you recently transitioning more from the competing side to being active as a coach. What was the thought process in that?
The thought process was I was already kind of coaching and helping Corey Sanhagen and JJ Aldrich, and I was beginning to help more people just because it was just working out that way to where more people were just asking me to help them with their wrestling and just help them in general and corner them and coach them. And I had coached in the past in college, and initially that's what I thought I was going to do when I left college, and ended up doing MMA, so it just kind of came full circle to where I came back around to coaching.
So what do you feel like are some of those keys to being a good communicator to getting your message across?
I would say it's different. It's a case-by-case basis. I would say it's different for every athlete. I would say just like every fight is a case-by-case basis, every athlete's a case-by-case, base. So I would just say I kind of got to assess what I'm dealing with, and then I go from there, from the experience that I've had from coaching in the past and what I've learned from my good mentors as coaches.
How long do you feel like it takes for you to kind of get a handle on the different way that you want to approach your athletes?
Yeah, I would say it takes at least one fight, because the first fight we just kind of like figuring each other out, feeling each other out, and that gives me a bigger idea of what I'm dealing with, and from there I just make the adjustments, and then the next fight. So I feel like it's just an ongoing thing until I've got like 6 or 7 fights under my belt with you. I don't think that I really know you all the way until I get more and more and more fights, and I think it just takes a lot of time to really know a person, to really know an athlete.
How much different, because you've been on both sides of it now, does a fight look from the athlete perspective to the coaching perspective? Because you'll always hear coaches believe in that right hand, believe in that kick, I see it there, and you always see fighters with, well, they're seeing something different. So you've seen it on both sides.
Yeah, I would say the coaches are there to tell you what you don't see or remind you what you might have forgot. So I always hope that my athletes trust me, so when I do tell them that I see something, or I do tell them to do something, that they believe in me and themselves and our training, and that they'll just not really think hard about it and they'll do it. But I also do have some athletes that have a good mind and eye for what's going on in front of them, and I also trust those athletes too. So it's hard to say, honestly. Like depending on who it is, like I would like them to maybe listen to me more, and some people I think that they should go with their gut and their intuition sometimes, and they have a good eye for what's going on in front of them. So depending on which athlete I'm dealing with depends on how I handle those situations as well.
Don't want to talk about him if he's listening to us right next to you, but you're out here cornering Josh tonight, back-to-back wins. Where do you feel you've seen the biggest developments in his game?
I would say everywhere, but the biggest, I would have to say the blending, the mixed martial arts itself. I would say that rather than just being a striker at times or being a wrestler at times, like he's done a really good job of growing and learning how to mix his techniques up to where they blend really well, and he can disguise them really well and go from one martial art to the next martial art and back to another one. So I would just say his IQ is raised, like his understanding of the sport and himself has grown a lot.
I'd also be remiss if I didn't ask you about a guy that I saw you in his corner recently in the UFC, and he trained for many years here in Albuquerque, Landon Venata. What has it been like working with him?
It's been cool. Like I said, Landon, that was my first camp with Landon, my first fight with Landon, so we're still getting to know each other and figure each other out and what works for him and what he needs as far as like from me. But I love working with Landon. He's a great person. He's got a great style. We're still working on, like adding what I bring to the Christian Allen, our other coach, brings to the table. So we're still putting all the pieces together. We've only had one camp, so like I said, it's going to take another, hopefully the next camp we can make it how we want it to look in that next fight.
I know everybody's different, but is there any similarities on handling your approach to Landon as there is with Corey Sandhagen? Because I'm thinking two guys that are light on their feet, a lot of stance switching.
I would say at some point I would say Landon and Corey are similar in a lot of ways too. And I would say Corey's worked with Christian Allen since he was 17. So he has a lot of time under his belt figuring out his system. And he's worked with me for the last 7 fights. So he's been able to develop what I've tried to help him with too as well. So I would say Landon and Corey are very similar. It's just time. We've had so much time with Corey, and we've had so little time with Landon that's the biggest difference to me.
And even though you're not competing anymore right now at this time, what has it been about this sport that keeps you so devoted to it?
I love it. If I wasn't coaching, I'd be fighting, and I feel like I'm going to be a lifelong mixed martial artist, whether it's coaching or whether it's fighting or whether it's just training or helping or whatever it may be. I've been wrestling since I was 7, so I feel blessed to just continue to be in this realm, and I hope to stay in it as long as I can.
Did you feel like that was a trademark of when you were competing, that wrestling base gave you that relentless work ethic that not everyone has?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say wrestling is a different type of workload, like the season, the requirements, the weight cutting every week, just the grind itself in general. It taught me a lot of really valuable lessons coming up through wrestling that I was able to carry into mixed martial arts, and that I've been able to hopefully give to some of my athletes as they're trying to figure out the mental side of the game too.
We'll let you get back to your athlete, Coach.
Sure.
Thank you for the time.